Okay, so if you've got a poorly hen who's not eating and drinking and you need to syringe feed them, first of all, we assume that the vet has seen them and has advised you to do this. So we're just going to show you the best way and the most stress-free way to syringe feed a hen. So this is what you'll see if you look into a bird's beak. They won't like you opening their beak this wide, but it's important to know a little bit about the anatomy inside there. You'll see their little tongue, and then just behind it a small hole, that's the trachea or the windpipe, that's where they breathe. Behind that, the bigger opening of the esophagus, which is where the food goes. It's important you don't syringe any liquids and it goes into the trachea. If you open their beak gently, as we'll demonstrate, and put a little bit of fluid just there, just at the tip of their tongue, not too much, and then the bird will be able to swallow that down into the right place without any harm coming to them. That's it.
Oh, it's much, much better. I can't feel it now. That is much better.
Just in the front of the beak, in front of the tongue, so that she can, just a tiny amount. Don't squirt it too far back into the mouth and don't squirt too much in. Give her a chance to swallow that, and then a little bit more, just a tiny bit at a time. So just slightly open the beak, just put the syringe. Now, down here, this is where the bird's crop is. This little bulge here. This is her crop, and you can see it's quite empty at the moment. That will give you an indication of whether there's any food in there or not. For emergency feeding for a sick hen or any bird, it's useful to have these things. Critical care formula. This is a maltodextrin solution. It's white powder that's water soluble, and as an emergency measure you can mix that with water and syringe it into the bird's beak. I also add a few drops of poultry multivitamin just to add something to it, and you can make very easily an electrolyte solution which is made of 1 litre of water, 6.5 teaspoons of sugar and 1 teaspoon of salt, and if you mix that in, that makes a good emergency electrolyte solution. Sick birds that aren't eating or drinking will very quickly become critically unwell if they're dehydrated. When it comes to what and how much to feed your hen, it will depend on how much they're eating themselves. If it's nothing, this was recommended by my vet as a good emergency feed for critically ill birds. This is water soluble again and will syringe very easily. An alternative that you may have at home would be to mix with the critical care and the vitamins, perhaps fish-based cat food or tuna, scrambled egg, anything that you can blend up like into a smoothie, into a consistency that will go through a syringe. And in terms of how often, it's better to feed them little and often if they're not eating very much at all, and be guided by the size of their crop. If their crop is empty, give them a few small syringes until it's about the size of a plum, and then wait for the crop to empty before trying again, several times a day if necessary.